Hi, I'm Brian from Daddis Heritage Masonry. I am at location at the Robinson House in Lockport, New York. I'm making this video to demonstrate how the cobblestone masons shaped the profile on the ridged mortar joint. This profile is the most common that I have seen with the fieldstone cobbles. These are the tools that are used to shape the mortar joints. These are called slickers. You can see that they have a flat surface and both sides are different widths. This is the biggest one I have, and this is the smallest. These are rulers that I use to keep the ridge straight on the mortar joints. So although it's a ruler, I just use it as a straight edge. I don't use it for measuring. The one I like best that matches the original profile the best is a thinner ruler. This is about 1/8 of an inch thick. When you use a thicker ruler, about 1/4 of an inch thick like this one, it makes the mortar joint stick out too far. The thinner one works best. The first thing I need to do is to remove this unfit mortar to create room for the new pointing mortar. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the mix I'm using to make the lime mortar. I'm using this sand that has small pebbles in it, kind of like pea gravel. I'm using one part of that. I'm doing that because the original mortar has stones that are this size in it. I'm using another sand like this that is brownish in color. I'm using this lighter yellow sand to lighten the mix so it doesn't dry too dark. And to this sand I am adding natural hydraulic lime. The most important reason that you use lime in your mix is that it is water vapor permeable. The second most important reason is that it is soft. Okay, now it's time to install the mortar. The first thing that is done is you fill the voids in between the stones. You're going to want to start with a series of slickers, working from the smallest one up to the biggest one. So I got my smallest one right here. So you're going to push it in all the way back. One thing you can notice is how close the stones are together. They're practically touching. Okay, so we have filled the voids in between the stones. We got our verticals that are recessed, and we have our horizontals that have been brought out to just about being even with the face of the stones. Now we're going to shape it. We're going to give it that raised ridge or the V shape. So I take my straight edge and you rest it on the top of the stones like that, and then you take your slicker and you just pull the mortar into the straight edge. Okay, so we've formed this top flat edge. Now we have to shape the bottoms. So you take your slicker. I like this old one I have. the rounded edges and the sharp points. So you take it like this and you just cut away the mortar and you make it smooth. Go along the bottom here. Ready to shape the verticals. I'm gonna put my straight edge back in place and do an upstroke to cut away the excess mortar. All right, the final step that is taken after this has firmed up, either at the end of the day or even the next morning, you take a stiff bristled brush like this and you just hit it like this. And what that does is it exposes the sand and the pebbles and everything that is in there, and it helps it to blend better with the surrounding original mortar. And then what you want to do is you want to cover this with burlap. You want to protect it from the sun and the heat. So you mist it and then cover it with burlap, and you can, if on a really hot day, you can even wet the burlap. And you want to keep it covered with burlap for 3 days. If anybody has any questions, you can contact me at briandaddismasonry@hotmail.com.